Okay, I thought I'd have some fun with this podcast and do a little eat in a day section. How many of you are vegans or vegetarian? Be interesting to know because I do know that I do have some vegetarian subs. There are days when I do eat vegetarian, but it's very, very rare. And if I do go vegetarian, I would usually have like a tomato soup with some grilled cheese. So if I'm gonna not eat meat or any protein, I would probably eat something cheesy or tomatoey, something like that. So typically on a typical day, if I'm having a 3 meal a day, I would start with something light. Now, one of the things that I love to start with if I'm having breakfast is yogurt, and that is a mainstay in my life. I eat yogurt practically every day. I love it with granola and fruit. Just simple, delicious. But if I'm also going to have something more substantial, I would probably go for something eggy, like an omelette, a souffle pancake or omelette, scrambled eggs. But one of the things I really like, and I had a lot of last year, was a French omelette every morning. Love that. Also, a ham and cheese omelette, absolutely fantastic. Um, for lunch, so I've said breakfast. For lunch, typically what I would love, an ideal lunch for me, would either be a soup or a salad. One of the two. One of the two. I just love soups, particularly with dumplings, noodles. One of my favorite lunches is a duck noodle soup. I used to have that for lunch when I was going to college, and it was just so delicious. It was a Chinese duck noodle soup place that I used to go to, and it was just yummy, yummy, yummy. So a nice hearty soup or a nice delicious salad, like a Caesar salad with some grilled chicken, a chickpea salad with some fish or something like that would just be the perfect lunch for me. For dinner, a curry would be a perfect dinner for me. So one of my favorite curries is a Thai red curry with duck and with rice. I always have my curries with rice, nearly always. And if it's not rice, if it's a more Indian or Asian style curry in terms of like Pakistani or Indian food, I'd have a flatbread or rice. But usually with most of my curries, I do have rice. So Thai red curry with duck is one of my favorite things to have. But I also like Indian curries, and I love Jamaican curries, and I love Japanese homemade curries like katsu. Love that kind of thing. So this would be an ideal day of eating if I were to have these three items. I don't always eat 3 meals a day. Sometimes I'll have one main meal and snack around it, or I'll have 2 meals. But this is kind of the idea of what I'd have if I was going to have a 3 meal a day, eat in a day experience. So I just wanted to share that with you, seeing as I love food, as you well know, and I talk about it a lot on my channel. Hello, my lovely subs and visitors. I waited for snow and waited for snow, and the snow never came. Cold weather came, but it never, the snow that I wanted, the picture postcard, perfect white snow that I was looking for, it never came. What we've had is a series of storms. We had Storm Aisha, whatever it was called, and then we're also waiting for another storm to come. Jocelyn, I think it's called. So it's about 10 o'clock here now, just after 10. It's very dark. It's very cloudy. The rain's going to start, and we're in for another storm. But this area doesn't get affected as much as the coastal areas. So anyway, I was just taking a look at my channel. It's been it will be 4 years in May since I started my channel, since I actually started putting content on this channel. I opened an account before that, but I didn't start actually putting content on my channel until I think it was 2020 during the lockdown. So May 2020, around that time. And I've been thinking about starting a channel for a while, and I knew what I wanted to do, or at least I thought I did. I started covering cases. I did the Watts case first. Then I moved on to the Laurie Ballo Daybell case. And those are the two cases that I've covered the most on my channel in terms of actual cases. And those are the cases that, I built on. To a lesser extent, I've covered the Peterson case. I've covered the Turpin case, Morphew, a lot of other cases I've covered to a lesser extent. And I see that people are looking at my old Watts videos and commenting under them. And it seems like some people are going through a binge watching my older Watts content. And I kind of fell into I had no plan or idea or intention of covering other creators. It's just something that it really started with AD when I saw that he was just making up a bunch of stories about the case. That's when I went from just strictly covering cases to talking about other creators. Now, some people have come to my channel and they ask me questions and they pose certain scenarios to me and they ask me what I think about this or that. And sometimes I will respond and sometimes I'll tell you what people are asking me or what people are inquiring, and sometimes I won't. But I will share this because some people have come to my channel to ask me what I think about Frankie's latest update. And this is what I have to say. While I will not be donating a penny to Frankie Rusek, I won't be donating to him. I wish Frankie and the Ruseks the best. There are things that Frankie has done that I disagree with, that I don't like. But there are things that my mum has done that I disagree with and I don't like, but I still love her. So I've got love for the Ruseks, not in the way that I did, but, I do sympathize with what they've been through. And there is no question that AD did do the things that Frankie has claimed. He made up a bunch of stories. He did really, really go at them. Not in the way that Dave does. Dave is more obvious. And I think really that's the person that they should be going for, not AD. Now that AD is, been taken down, he's not on the platform, I just think it's a waste of time to pursue him. That's just my personal opinion. I wish them well. I wish the Ruseks well. I don't have the disdain in my heart that Bam had for them. I just can't. I can't even imagine what it's like to live with that and let that fester, which is what she did. She let her disdain for them fester. But, I respect what they've been through and I wish them nothing but peace. But I won't be donating, and I just think it's a almost pointless pursuit. It's going to cost so much money. The money's gone up yet again. The donation request, it goes up and it goes up. It was 75 grand and now it's over 100 grand. So it's just going to cost so much money and so much time. I don't even think it's worth it. If he was still on the platform, then maybe. But because he's gone, and just let it be known, although I've covered the CJ, the Crowd Justice, Claire Morgan, and all of that, I won't be moving forward with covering any of that. I'm not interested. If he wants to pursue AD, that's his business. But I won't be donating, but I wish him well. That's a difference. Just because I don't want to be part of it, just because I won't be donating, doesn't mean that I don't wish him well. Doesn't mean that I don't wish the Ruseks well. I do. I just won't be donating. I just think now that he's off YouTube, I really don't care. And I just think it costs too much money and too much time to pursue somebody like him. And he's just going to keep dodging because that's what he does. That's what AD does. I decided to go and look at his Rumble site just out of curiosity to see what he was up to. I know I do go to that, to Rumble every now and then. And this is a guy who claims that he is this. Well, he doesn't claim anything, but he makes out that he's some kind of expert on the cases that he discusses and that he knows more. And he's there talking about Brian Epstein. Epstein, the Epstein case. He calls him Brian Epstein. I mean, seriously? You take yourself seriously as somebody who does these cases, and you don't even know that his name is not Brian Epstein. It's actually Jeffrey, like my uncle. I mean, seriously? So he's there going on about Brian Epstein this, Brian Epstein that, and I'm just literally just laughing my head off. Brian Epstein, who's Brian Epstein? AD. It was always my belief that AD and Frankie would never meet in a courtroom, and it's turning out that way. But I don't care if I am proven wrong down the line. Um, but it seems to be going that way, and I think the best that they can perhaps hope for is that there will be a judgment against AD. But the truth of the matter is that AD won't pay the judgment. He won't pay it. So what you're going to have is a lot of money is going to be raised to pursue somebody who's already been taken down, and he's not going to pay any judgment. So I just think that pursuing AD is pointless. It's going to cost too much money. It's going to cost too much time. And I won't be donating, but that doesn't mean to say that I don't want, I want the Ruseks to have peace. And with AD down and BAM down, I think that they have achieved that to an extent. However, there are other people, there are other people who cause them, who raise a lot of issues for them, Dave and others. But at least they can say, well, at least AD's gone now. And that's the reason why I just think that continuing to pursue AD now that he's not on the platform, I just think it's a waste of time, money, and energy. That's just my personal opinion. And like I said, never thought that AD and Frankie would ever meet in a courtroom. Best they can hope for is a judgment against AD, but he is very unlikely to pay them a penny at any time. However, I do believe if there is a judgment made against him, that he should be made to pay it. Otherwise, there's no point. That's just my personal opinion. And like I said, I wish the Ruseks well. The other cases I've covered much less extensively are the Idaho case, the Richards case, the Ruby Frankie case, the Mushroom case in Australia. I've done quite a few other cases. There was another case about a woman called Melissa Caddick in Australia. I actually find Australian cases really, really fascinating. So I've covered other cases much like the Caddick case from Australia, much less extensively. And one of those cases that I've covered less extensively is the Peterson case. Now, I liken that to the Watts case. I think that both cases are very, very similar. And the Peterson family have maintained that Scott is completely innocent, and they've, tried to appeal for him and appeal for him and appeal for him. And all of his appeals have been exhausted, and the Innocence Project have taken his case up. Now, quite frankly, from day one, I always believed, from the day one that I was introduced to this case, I always believed that he did it. But if the Innocence Project can find something that tells a different story and legitimately find something that tells a different story, then so be it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Watts case went knocking on the Innocence Project's door, because the Watts family, Chris's parents, they're just unable to see him for what he is. I think they're still very much in denial. And, I wouldn't be surprised if they went to the Innocence Project to try and look into their son's case, because I just think that they will never accept what Chris did, ever. Another case that I haven't quite covered on my channel is the Adelson case, and I find that case quite fascinating. I know that some of you are interested in the Idaho case. There's nothing happening with that. What do I think of that case? I think the person who they've set aside, I think he did it, but I don't know what's going to happen with the actual case. I don't know what the outcome will be. I can't predict it. But I was watching Dateline, which I love watching Dateline. It's one of my favorite documentaries, and they were covering and doing an update of the Adelson case. That case has been resolved in many ways, but I actually believe the whole Adelson family is involved. The mother, possibly Wendy as well. I think she knows a lot more. Wendy Adelson, her daughter, I think she knows a lot more than what she's saying. And obviously the son of Wendy Adelson, that case has been resolved. But Donna Adelson, she's a very interesting character. On the surface, you would think that this is a really decent woman. She's worked hard all her life. She's followed all of the society protocols. She is an affluent Jewish woman living in Florida, runs a dental practice, a family practice with her husband, her son. Her daughter is a lawyer. Her son was a dental practitioner, or worked in the family business with them. Some people say he was like the black sheep of the family, whatever. But the family, the Adelson family, they're a wealthy Jewish family living in Florida, and on the surface, they seem like a wonderful, hardworking family with a lot of money. But when you start to peel beneath the surface, you see it's a very codependent family, and it's about basically a mother who wants to control everything and has created an environment of codependency within her family. I think that the Watts family were perhaps a bit like that as well, however, without the affluence, without the money. And the matriarch, Donna, the mother, Adelson, she actually was overheard on tapes, on recordings, telling her son that she planned to relocate to Vietnam because there was no extradition process there. And as we all know, she was caught. Anyone who's followed the case or knows anything about the case, she was caught at the airport, ready to take a plane that I think was going to stop in Dubai and then go on to Vietnam. So she was overheard in recordings saying that to her son, who is now in the big house. Now, an innocent person just wouldn't say that. But when you peel behind the surface, and a lot of these cases, they start with wealthy, rich people. That a lot of the cases that get attention are of people who are from affluent, wealthy backgrounds, or superstars, or sport heroes like Simpson. They look affluent, they look wealthy on the surface, they look like decent people on the surface, hardworking, have nice families. But when you peel beneath the surface is when you start to see the cracks. And I think that's the problem with the Adelson family. Wealthy, hardworking, but you had one son that was kind of wayward. And then you had a daughter in a marriage that she didn't want to be in a place that she didn't want to be in. And you had the matriarch, the mother, who kind of wanted to control her children's lives and who took a very, very extreme step, because I absolutely believe that she's involved in all of the things that she, she's been, they say that she's involved in. I believe that she could probably be the architect of the whole operation. So that's the thing about codependency and codependent relationships. On the surface, they might seem okay, but when you peel beneath the cracks, codependent relationships really create an unhealthy environment. And Donna Adelson, like I said, on the surface, she looks like a nice mother, a good person. She's hardworking, she's wealthy, she's affluent. She seems to love and care for her kids. But to be in control and to keep in control of her family, she was the architect of something that she should never have been involved with. So I am watching and I'm tracking that case because I think it's quite interesting, especially when you peel beyond the surface. And, this wealthy Jewish family from Florida, who've never been in any real trouble in their lives, have now found themselves in this situation. And I think it has a lot to do with codependency and a matriarchal mother who wants to control people.